Mark felt a shiver of excitement as the shuttle descended toward the alien colony. He had seen pictures and videos of the city, but nothing could compare to the view from above. Towers of shining metal and crystal stretched toward the sky, and gardens of strange glowing plants decorated every rooftop. The streets below were filled with alien citizens moving gracefully, some walking, some gliding with small levitating devices. Everything about the place felt alive, efficient, and perfect. Mark adjusted the straps of his equipment pack and took a deep breath. He had been sent here as an engineer, tasked with maintaining and upgrading the colony's complex systems. It was a rare opportunity for a human to work so closely with these aliens, known for their intelligence and skill. But even as he marveled at the city, a small knot of worry formed in his stomach. He thought about Lena, his wife, waiting for him back home. She had always worried when he went on long missions, and he could almost hear her voice in his mind warning him to stay careful. "Mark," a voice said, pulling him from his thoughts. He turned to see a tall, elegant alien woman approaching. Her skin shimmered in soft shades of blue and silver, and her eyes were a deep amber. Her movements were calm but purposeful, and there was a sense of confidence in the way she carried herself. "Welcome to Lyria Colony. I am Ayla. I will assist you in adapting to our systems." Mark bowed slightly, feeling a mix of awe and nervousness. "Thank you." "I'm Mark. It's an honor to be here." Ayla smiled faintly, her eyes observing him with interest. "You have been briefed on our technology?" "Somewhat," Mark admitted. "I've read reports, but seeing it in person is overwhelming." Ayla chuckled softly, a sound like wind through glass. "Many humans feel that way at first. Follow me. I will show you the controls and routines you must learn." As they walked, Mark tried to take in everything. The streets were spotless, and citizens moved with a harmony that seemed almost choreographed. Drones hovered silently overhead, monitoring environmental systems. The buildings glowed with energy, but the light was soft, never harsh. Plants seemed to respond to the presence of people, subtly adjusting their leaves and colors. It was beautiful, almost magical, but it also made Mark feel small. Ayla led him into a large chamber filled with panels, screens, and holographic displays. "This is the central maintenance hub," she explained. "Here we monitor all systems, from energy distribution to environmental controls. Your first task is to ensure the stability of the outer sectors. They experience frequent surges and anomalies." Mark nodded, feeling both excitement and pressure. "I'll do my best." Ayla's eyes softened, and she placed a hand lightly on the console. "I will guide you. Watch closely, ask questions. It is better to learn carefully than to rush." As they worked, Mark was amazed by Ayla's skill. She manipulated complex holographic controls with ease, running diagnostics and solving problems that would have taken humans hours to understand. Her mind seemed to work in multiple layers at once, analyzing, predicting, and correcting. Mark struggled to keep up, but she never showed impatience. She explained each step clearly, demonstrating not only the function but also the reasoning behind it. By the end of the day, Mark was exhausted but exhilarated. He had learned more in a few hours than he had in months of training. Ayla glanced at him, a faint smile on her lips. "You are talented, human, but you must trust your instincts as well. The systems respond not only to logic but also to intuition." Mark laughed softly. "Intuition? I think that's the hardest part for me." "You will learn," she said simply, her eyes warm. "We all do." That evening, Mark returned to his quarters, a small apartment provided by the colony. He unpacked his belongings and tried to relax, but his mind kept returning to Ayla. She was incredible, not just intelligent but graceful, calm, and confident. He felt a strange mix of admiration and envy. He loved Lena dearly, but he couldn't help thinking that Lena would struggle with the pace and complexity of life here. A small, almost guilty thought slipped into his mind. I wish Lena were more like Ayla. He immediately regretted the thought and pushed it aside. Lena was loving, kind, and supportive. She had her own strengths, ones that Ayla might never have. Still, the comparison lingered in the back of his mind, unbidden. The next morning, Mark returned to the maintenance hub. Ayla was already there, adjusting a sequence of energy flow panels. She glanced at him and raised an eyebrow. "You seem distracted, human. Are you well?" Mark forced a smile. "Yes, just thinking about the work ahead." Ayla didn't comment further, but she watched him carefully as they began the day's tasks. They worked side by side, diagnosing and repairing anomalies in the outer sectors. Mark grew more confident with each task, learning to anticipate problems and respond with a mix of logic and intuition. Isla offered guidance when needed, but she also allowed him space to experiment and make decisions. During a brief break, Mark looked out a window at the glowing city below. He thought about Lena again and felt a pang of guilt. He whispered softly to himself, almost as if speaking to the wind, "I wish Lena were more like her." Unbeknownst to him, Ayla, standing nearby, had paused her work. She had heard him. She didn't react immediately. Her training taught her to remain calm. But a small flicker of curiosity crossed her eyes. Why would a human compare his spouse to someone else? And why did it seem personal? Mark didn't notice Ayla's observation. He returned to work, feeling both inspired by her skill and troubled by his own thoughts. He tried to focus on the systems, but the image of Ayla's grace and efficiency kept appearing in his mind. By mid-afternoon, a minor crisis erupted in the energy network. A sector of the city was losing power, and alarms began to sound. Mark and Ayla rushed to the control panels, coordinating with drones and other technicians. Mark felt a surge of adrenaline. For the first time, he realized that his admiration for Ayla was not just about skill. It was about courage under pressure. She remained calm, issuing instructions and adjusting the systems with precision. Mark followed her guidance, and together they restored stability to the sector. As the alarm silenced, Mark exhaled heavily. "We did it," he said, still panting. Ayla smiled, a genuine, approving smile. "Yes, you performed well. Do not underestimate yourself, human. You have strength you do not always see." Mark felt a rush of gratitude. "Thank you, Ayla. I couldn't have done it without your guidance." She nodded, her eyes warm but unreadable. "We all help each other. That is how progress is made." That evening, Mark returned to his quarters again. He tried to focus on Lena, thinking about her laughter, her gentle encouragement, and the quiet moments they shared. But Ayla's presence lingered in his mind, a reminder of how much he still had to learn. He made a silent promise to himself, to appreciate Lena for who she was, while also learning from the brilliance around him. Little did he know, Ayla had begun to observe him more closely, not just as a technician, but as a human being with feelings, insecurities, and potential. And little did Mark know that his careless words, whispered in a moment of distraction, had set in motion a chain of events that would challenge his understanding of admiration, love, and human strength. As night fell over the glowing colony, Mark stared at the city lights, a mix of excitement and unease stirring within him. This was only the beginning. The morning sunlight fell gently over Mark's quarters, but he barely noticed. His mind was tangled with thoughts about the alien colony and, unexpectedly, Lena. He knew he had to call her soon, yet he hesitated. His admiration for Ayla gnawed at him, and the guilt of comparing his wife to someone else made him uneasy. He reminded himself that Lena was loving and loyal, but a small, stubborn part of him still wondered if she could handle the same challenges he faced here. Mark's first meeting of the day was at the Energy Calibration Lab, a place filled with humming machinery and holographic displays. Ayla was already there, analyzing a network of energy conduits that spread throughout the city. She looked up as he entered. "You are early," she noted. "Good. We have much to do today." "I want to make up for yesterday's mistakes," Mark said, trying to sound confident. Ayla tilted her head slightly, studying him. "You did not make mistakes. You learned. That is the difference," Mark smiled faintly. Her words were always calm but carried weight. He wished he could be that composed. As they began the day's work, Mark found himself following Ayla closely, observing every move she made. She adjusted settings with delicate precision, anticipated errors before they occurred, and explained complex systems in ways he could understand. Mark tried to imitate her methods, sometimes succeeding, sometimes fumbling. Ayla never criticized. She only guided, correcting him with a gentle hand and calm voice. Despite the busy morning, Mark's thoughts occasionally drifted to Lena. He thought about the quiet evenings they spent reading together, the laughter they shared over small jokes, and the comfort of her presence. He realized that while Ayla was brilliant and poised, Lena possessed warmth and understanding that could never be measured by skill or efficiency. Yet, he could not deny that watching Ayla at work sparked a strange longing, a wish that Lena could match her courage and capability in this alien environment. During a short break, Mark activated the communication link to Earth, Lena's face appeared smiling but slightly tense. "Mark, how's it going over there?" she asked. He smiled, trying to keep his tone light. "It's amazing, Lena. The colony is unlike anything we've seen. You'd love it." Lena's eyes brightened. "I wish I could see it. Are you learning a lot?" "Yes, I'm learning more than I imagined. Isla has been helping me. She's incredible," Mark admitted, momentarily forgetting himself. There was a pause on the other end. Lena's smile faded slightly, replaced by a look of concern. "Incredible how?" Mark hesitated, then spoke quickly. "She's so calm and skilled. Everything here seems easy for her, and I wish you could see it too." The words slipped out before he could stop them. Lena's eyes widened and she went silent for a moment. Mark instantly regretted speaking so carelessly. "Lena, I didn't mean it the way it sounded," he tried to clarify. But the connection ended abruptly. Lena had hung up. Mark sank into the chair, a tight knot forming in his chest. He hadn't meant to hurt her. He loved her. Yet his words had caused pain. Ayla appeared behind him quietly, as if she had sensed his distress. "Is something troubling you, human?" Mark shook his head quickly. "No, I'm fine, just communication issues with Earth." Ayla studied him for a moment, then nodded. "Very well. Focus on the work. Distraction is the enemy of precision." He returned to the panels, trying to concentrate, but the conversation replayed in his mind and guilt mingled with frustration. He felt torn between admiration for Ayla and love for Lena, unsure how to reconcile the two. Later, an urgent alert rang through the hub. A minor explosion had occurred in one of the storage sectors. Mark and Ayla rushed to the scene. The corridors were filled with smoke and warning lights flashed red. Citizens were evacuating calmly under the guidance of drones and security personnel. "Follow my lead," Ayla instructed, moving with fluid efficiency. She guided Mark through the chaos, showing him how to reroute energy to prevent further explosions. Mark followed her every instruction, impressed by her ability to remain composed under pressure. As they stabilized the sector, Mark noticed the citizens working together, not panicking, responding to Ayla's commands and to each other. It struck him that the colony's strength lay not only in its technology, but in its people's discipline and teamwork. Ayla herself was a symbol of that unity, her skill amplified by the cooperation of those around her. Once the danger passed, Mark and Ayla returned to the hub. Mark wiped sweat from his brow, breathing heavily. "You make it look so easy," he said. Ayla's amber eyes regarded him steadily. "It is easy when you understand the system and trust your own ability. You can achieve the same. You only need confidence and focus." Mark nodded slowly. He wanted to believe her, yet the words still reminded him painfully of his own insecurities and his earlier, careless comparison to Lena. By evening, Mark's guilt had not eased. He sat in the quiet of his quarters, staring at the hollow image of Lena he had pinned to the wall. Memories of her warmth and kindness flowed through him. He realized that while Ayla's skills were remarkable, they were not the same as Lena's strength. Lena's strength was quiet, patient, and persistent, and it had kept him grounded during all their challenges together. The next day, Lena surprised him by appearing on the colony's communication link again. This time her expression was calm but serious. "Mark, I heard what you said yesterday," she began carefully. "I won't lie, it hurt. But I also want to understand why you said it. What is it about this place, about Ayla, that made you think of me differently?" Mark swallowed hard. "Lena, I didn't mean to compare you in a bad way. Ayla is talented, brave, and calm in ways I'm still learning. I thought maybe you'd enjoy seeing these things too. But I love you and I know your strengths are different, not less." Lena listened quietly, her expression softening. "Mark, I understand. I just want to know that I matter to you, that I'm enough." "You are more than enough," Mark said earnestly. "I was careless. I let my admiration for someone else make me forget how much I already appreciate you. You've supported me through everything. That's the strength I admire most." There was a long pause, then Lena's lips curved into a gentle smile. "Thank you for saying that. I forgive you. But please remember, I don't want to compete with anyone. I just want to share your life." Mark felt a wave of relief and gratitude. "I promise, I won't let my thoughts get ahead of me again." Ayla, observing quietly nearby, noted the interaction. She didn't interfere, but her amber eyes flickered with understanding. She recognized the complexity of human emotion and the bond that held Mark and Lena together. It was not skill or efficiency that defined them. It was trust, care, and mutual respect. The next week passed with more work and fewer crises. Mark focused on mastering the colony's systems, still learning from Ayla but now with renewed respect for Lena at home. He realized that admiration did not have to create comparison or conflict. It could inspire growth and understanding, as long as it was tempered by love and gratitude. By the end of the week, Mark felt more confident in his abilities. He had learned to rely on his intuition, balance logic with empathy, and navigate challenges under pressure. More importantly, he had learned a valuable lesson about relationships. Admiration is natural, but it should never overshadow love. As he prepared for the next day's work, he glanced at the hollow image of Lena and smiled. He whispered softly, not as a comparison this time, but as a promise. I will be the kind of man you deserve, Lena, and I will never forget how strong and wonderful you truly are. Outside his window, the alien city pulsed with light and energy, a living testament to skill, discipline, and cooperation. Mark felt a sense of purpose and balance he had not experienced before. With Lena's support and Ayla's guidance, he was ready to face the challenges ahead, both in the colony and in his own heart. The morning air in the colony felt unusually tense. Mark could sense it the moment he stepped into the central hub. Alarms had been quiet for days, but now a steady red glow pulsed across the panels. A message flashed on his console. Energy fluctuations detected in the research sector. Immediate attention required. Mark's heart quickened. He had learned to handle small issues, but this seemed different. He glanced at Ayla, who was already analyzing the situation. Her amber eyes narrowed and she moved with precise urgency. Mark, follow me, she instructed. This is more serious than yesterday's surge. We must stabilize the sector before damage spreads. Mark nodded, gripping his tools tightly. Understood. They arrived at the research sector to find chaos contained but palpable. Holographic displays flickered, some equipment sparking, and a faint hum of malfunctioning machinery filled the air. Scientists and technicians moved quickly, trying to keep everything under control, but the system itself was unpredictable. Ayla assessed the situation instantly. The energy conduit is overloaded. If we do not reroute the flow immediately, several laboratories will be damaged and vital research lost. She turned to Mark. You will assist in recalibrating the secondary controls. Precision is crucial. Mark swallowed, feeling a rush of both fear and determination. This was the kind of challenge he had trained for, but it felt larger than anything he had faced before. He followed Ayla's lead, her calm confidence guiding him step by step. As they worked, Mark felt his mind sharpen. The alarms, the flashing lights, the frantic energy of the team, it all seemed to fall away when he focused on the controls and Ayla's instructions. Together, they rerouted power through backup conduits, balancing energy flows and stabilizing the sector. During the process, Mark's thoughts drifted briefly to Lena. He remembered the conversation they had after his careless words. Lena had forgiven him, but he still worried about how she would feel if she were here, witnessing the pressure and responsibility he now carried. He realized that he wanted her to see not only the danger but also the growth he had experienced. Hours passed, and the sector slowly returned to stability. Sparks ceased, alarms silenced, and the machinery hummed with steady rhythm once again. Mark wiped sweat from his forehead, breathing heavily, but a sense of accomplishment warmed him from within. Ayla studied him, her expression unreadable for a moment. Then she nodded. You have done well, Mark. Your focus and adaptability are improving. You handled pressure effectively. Mark felt a swell of pride but kept his tone modest. Thank you, Ayla. I couldn't have done it without your guidance. Ayla's gaze softened almost imperceptibly. We learn from each other. That is the purpose of cooperation. As the workday ended, Mark returned to his quarters exhausted but satisfied. He activated the communication link to Lena. The moment her face appeared, he felt relief and warmth. Mark, are you okay? Lena asked, concern flashing in her eyes. I'm fine, Lena. It was intense today, Mark admitted. There was a serious issue in the research sector, and Ayla and I worked together to stabilize it. It felt overwhelming at times, but I managed. Lena's brows furrowed slightly. I wish I could see you in action. I want to understand what you're experiencing. You would be amazed, Mark said, smiling faintly.
Ayla is incredible.
She remains calm under pressure, even when everything around her is falling apart. Lena paused, and he could sense her unease. Mark, I don't want you comparing me to anyone. I just want to know you trust me. Mark took a deep breath. I trust you, Lena, more than anyone. Today I realize that admiration for someone's skill doesn't mean I love you any less. It just inspires me to improve. You have your own strengths, ones that I respect and need every day. Lena smiled, the tension in her shoulders easing. Thank you for saying that. I believe you, and I'm proud of how you handled these challenges. The conversation left Mark feeling both reassured and thoughtful. He knew that admiration for others could be positive if it encouraged growth rather than comparison. He resolved to focus on what he could learn from Ayla, while honoring Lena's unique qualities. The next morning, a new challenge emerged. The colony's communications network began experiencing interference, blocking contact with other settlements. Ayla quickly identified the source, a malfunction in the central relay tower, which could escalate if left uncorrected. Mark, we need to climb the relay tower and manually adjust the conduits, Ayla explained. It is risky but necessary. Are you prepared? Mark nodded firmly. I'm ready. The climb was physically demanding, with narrow walkways and complex machinery surrounding them. Mark struggled at first, unfamiliar with the tower's layout, but Ayla's calm guidance kept him steady. Step by step, they reached the top, where the main conduits thrummed with unstable energy. Careful, Ayla warned. One mistake could disrupt the entire network. Mark worked alongside her, hands steady despite the humming power around him. As he adjusted the conduits, he felt a strange exhilaration, the kind that came from facing danger and overcoming it with skill and courage. Ayla worked with equal focus, and together they restored stability to the network. From their high vantage point, Mark looked out over the glowing city. Despite the crises, the colony thrived. Citizens moved efficiently, responding to challenges calmly and collectively. He realized that the colony's strength was not just its technology, but its culture of cooperation, discipline, and mutual support. Ayla embodied those values, but Mark also recognized that Lena, though in a very different way, possessed similar strengths: loyalty, patience, and the ability to inspire him through love. By evening, Mark's thoughts returned to Lena. He initiated the communication link once more, eager to share the day's events. Mark, you sound different, Lena said, noticing the calm but energized tone in his voice. I've learned a lot today, Lena. We fixed the communications network, and I climbed the relay tower with Ayla's help. I realized that courage and teamwork are just as important as skill. And I thought about you too. I see now that your strength lies in love, support, and patience. That's what I rely on every day. Lena's eyes softened and a gentle smile appeared. I'm glad you understand that. I never wanted to compete with anyone. I just wanted to share your life, Mark. I know, Lena, and I promise. I'll never forget how much your support matters, Mark said earnestly. Ayla, observing quietly nearby, acknowledged the human connection with a subtle nod. She respected the bond between Mark and Lena, and understood that true strength came from more than skill. It came from love, trust, and shared purpose. The following days brought smaller challenges, each testing Mark in different ways. He learned to combine human creativity with alien efficiency, developing solutions that impressed both Ayla and the colony leaders. Lena's encouragement and understanding allowed him to grow without fear of judgment, and Ayla's guidance ensured he could meet each challenge with confidence. By the end of the week, Mark felt a new sense of balance. He admired Ayla's abilities but did not compare her to Lena. He understood that admiration could inspire, but love was what sustained him. He had learned that strengths come in different forms, and that each person's unique qualities contribute to the greater whole. One evening, as the colony's lights glowed softly against the night sky, Mark stood at the observation deck looking out over the city. He thought about the week's challenges, the lessons learned, and the people who had guided him. He whispered softly to himself, not in comparison, but in gratitude. Thank you, Lena. Thank you, Ayla. You've both shown me what it means to be strong in your own ways. From the distance, he could see the colony's citizens moving in harmony, working together to maintain their city. Mark realized that human courage and alien discipline could complement each other, creating results that neither could achieve alone. And in that moment, he understood something important. Admiration could exist without comparison, and growth could happen without losing sight of love. He felt ready for whatever challenges lay ahead, confident in his abilities, and secure in the knowledge that Lena's support would always anchor him. Little did Mark know, the colony's next challenge would test not only his technical skills, but also his understanding of trust, loyalty, and the bonds that tie humans and aliens together. And when that challenge arrived, Mark, Lena, and Ayla would need to work together in ways none of them had anticipated. The colony was unusually quiet that morning. Even the drones moved slower, as if sensing an approaching disturbance. Mark had grown accustomed to minor problems and sudden alerts, but today felt different. He arrived at the maintenance hub to find Ayla already analyzing the main control panels with a serious expression. "Mark," she said without looking up, "we have a situation. The outer sectors are experiencing simultaneous anomalies. If we do not act quickly, critical systems may fail. This is beyond routine malfunctions. We must coordinate with the central AI and the field teams immediately." Mark's heart pounded. He had faced challenges before, but never something that threatened multiple sectors at once. "Understood," he said, trying to steady his voice. "What's the plan?" Ayla gestured toward the holomap of the city. "We split into teams. I will lead the recalibration of the energy conduits. You will coordinate with field units and drones. Communication and speed are essential. Can you manage?" Mark nodded. "I can do this." As he moved to the command console, he thought of Lena. He remembered her words about support and patience and drew strength from them. He realized that courage was not only about facing danger, but also about staying calm and focused, even when fear and doubt tried to intrude. The situation escalated quickly. Sensors in the outer sectors detected unstable energy surges, threatening to overload storage facilities and laboratories. Teams of technicians and drones scrambled to maintain control. Mark directed the human and alien units, issuing clear instructions and anticipating problems before they became critical. Ayla worked methodically alongside her team, moving from one control station to another. Her calm demeanor inspired everyone around her, and her expertise was unmatched. Mark observed closely, learning not just the technical methods but the mindset required to handle crises with composure. During a particularly tense moment, an alert flashed in Sector 7, a storage facility with volatile energy cores. A minor miscalculation could trigger an explosion. Mark immediately dispatched drones to stabilize the core, while coordinating with nearby units to reroute energy. He felt his hands sweat, but he maintained his focus. Ayla noticed his composure and gave him a subtle nod. "You are improving," she said. "Do not let fear dictate your actions. Trust your decisions and the skills you have learned." Mark nodded, taking a deep breath. He trusted his training and experience, and he trusted Lena's unwavering support that had bolstered him through every challenge. The surges were gradually stabilized, but another alert appeared, this time in the transportation grid connecting the colony's sectors. The gravity of the situation hit Mark. A failure here could isolate sectors, endanger citizens, and disrupt essential systems. He looked at Ayla, who had paused to assess the new threat. "We must move fast," she said. "There is no room for hesitation." Mark coordinated with drone operators, technicians, and security teams. He monitored energy levels, rerouted resources, and maintained constant communication. The pressure was immense, but with each successful adjustment, his confidence grew. He realized that his fear did not vanish. It transformed into focus and determination. Meanwhile, Lena watched through the communication link. She had insisted on seeing the situation firsthand, wanting to understand the challenges Mark faced. Her eyes widened as she observed the complex coordination, the surging energy levels, and the tension in the hub. Yet she also saw Mark's steady presence, directing the teams, making decisions, and never faltering. "You're amazing, Mark," Lena whispered to herself. "You're handling everything so well." Back in the hub, Ayla approached Mark. "You have performed admirably under extreme pressure," she said. "Few humans could maintain composure in such circumstances. Your growth is remarkable." Mark smiled faintly, humbled. "Thank you, Ayla. I couldn't have done it without your guidance and without Lena supporting me from afar." Ayla regarded him thoughtfully. "Support and trust are as vital as skill. You understand that well." As the day progressed, the colony slowly stabilized. The surges subsided, The energy cores cooled and the transportation grid resumed normal operation. Mark and Ayla coordinated the final checks, ensuring no lingering risks remained. After the crisis, the colony leaders gathered in the central hub to debrief. Mark presented the actions taken, highlighting the teamwork and quick decision-making that had prevented disaster. Ayla added her observations, emphasizing precision, anticipation, and composure. Lena appeared on the communication link, her face bright with relief. "Mark, I saw everything. You handled it perfectly. I'm proud of you." Mark felt a warmth spread through him. "Thank you, Lena. I couldn't have done it without your encouragement. Knowing you believe in me makes all the difference." Lena's expression softened. "And I admire Ayla too. She's incredible, but I see now that her skill does not diminish what we share. Your love and respect for me are what matter most." Mark's heart swelled with gratitude. He realized that admiration for others could inspire growth without threatening love or loyalty. He understood that true strength came from both skill and heart, from courage and trust, from knowledge and care. Ayla observed quietly, her amber eyes reflecting understanding. She recognized the depth of human emotion and the power of bonds that transcended skill alone. She also recognized Mark's growth, both as an engineer and as a human being navigating complex relationships. That evening, Mark returned to his quarters, exhausted but content. He reviewed the events of the day and reflected on the lessons learned. He had faced challenges that tested his technical knowledge, his courage, and his focus. He had seen the value of teamwork and discipline, and he had recognized the enduring strength of Lena's love and support. He activated the communication link one final time. Lena's image appeared, smiling gently. "Mark, how are you feeling now?" she asked. "I'm tired, but I've learned so much," Mark replied. "Today showed me that admiration, courage, and love all work together. I respect Ayla's skills and I've grown from her guidance, but I also appreciate your strength in ways I never fully understood before." Lena's smile broadened. "I'm glad. Remember, we are a team too. Distance does not weaken us. Your growth is part of our journey together." Mark nodded, feeling a deep sense of connection. "I promise to honor that. I've seen what courage looks like here, and it has reminded me of the courage and patience you show every day, Lena." As the night settled over the glowing city, Mark gazed out at the colony. Lights shimmered across the streets, drones moved silently, and citizens continued their work with calm efficiency. He realized that challenges would always arise, but with trust, guidance, and love, they could be met successfully. He whispered softly, not to anyone in particular. "Thank you, Lena, thank you, Ayla. I've learned more than I imagined about skill, courage, and the strength of the heart." From afar, the colony's energy systems hummed steadily, a testament to teamwork, discipline, and the lessons learned by both humans and aliens. Mark felt ready for the future, confident in his abilities, and grounded in the knowledge that love and admiration could coexist without conflict. And in the quiet of his quarters, as he prepared for the coming days, Mark understood that the bond between him and Lena had grown stronger, enriched by experiences, challenges, and the extraordinary world he had stepped into. Little did he know, the final test was approaching, a challenge that would test not only his skills and courage but also the strength of trust, understanding, and love between him, Lena, and Ayla. The morning air in the colony carried a quiet tension. Mark had sensed it for hours, a subtle hum in the city systems and a faint unease among the citizens. Something was different. The outer sectors were functioning normally, the energy grids were stable, and the transportation network was operational. But the feeling of anticipation lingered, like a storm about to break. Mark arrived at the central hub, where Ayla was already monitoring the main panels. Her usual calm expression was sharpened with focus. "Mark," she said immediately, "the central AI has detected an unusual energy pattern. It is unlike anything we have experienced before. We must investigate." Mark's pulse quickened. "Do we know the source?" Ayla shook her head. "Not yet. It appears to be spreading across multiple sectors. If we delay, it could disrupt critical systems and endanger the colony. We need to act now." Mark glanced at the holomap, tracing the energy anomaly. It pulsed like a living thing, moving with unpredictable rhythm. "What's the plan?" Ayla's amber eyes met his. "We split into 3 teams. You will lead the field response, coordinating drones and technicians. I will oversee system recalibration from the hub, and the AI will manage predictive adjustments. Precision and speed are essential, Mark nodded. He had faced challenges before, but the weight of this situation pressed heavily on him. Yet he felt a steady calm within, a combination of training, experience, and the quiet reassurance of Lena's presence through the communication link. As Mark moved toward the field exit, Lena appeared on the link. "Mark, are you sure you're ready for this?" she asked, concern threading her voice. "I am," he replied firmly. "I've faced surges, crises, and unexpected failures.
I've learned to trust my instincts, my training, and the guidance I've received here."
Most importantly, I trust you, Lena. Your belief in me gives me strength." Lena smiled softly, her eyes glistening with pride. "Then go, Mark. I know you'll handle it." The field teams assembled, drones hovering in formation as Mark issued clear instructions. They moved quickly, navigating the labyrinth of the colony's outer sectors. The anomaly pulsed ahead, unpredictable but visible through sensors. Mark coordinated the units, rerouting energy, stabilizing conduits, and ensuring the safety of all personnel. Ayla's voice came through the comm link, calm and steady. "Mark, focus on the core sector. We have isolated the anomaly to that location. Predictive algorithms suggest it may escalate rapidly if unchecked." Mark adjusted his course. As he approached the core sector, he noticed the anomaly's energy had intensified, glowing brighter and pulsing with erratic force. The surrounding systems hummed dangerously, warning lights flashing. The magnitude of the situation hit him. One wrong move could trigger cascading failures across the entire colony. "Stay focused," he whispered to himself, recalling Ayla's guidance and Lena's support. Step by step, one decision at a time. He coordinated with the drones to form a protective barrier, while technicians worked on stabilizing the conduits. Mark identified the point of greatest instability, a central node where multiple energy lines intersected. It pulsed with unpredictable force, threatening to overload. Taking a deep breath, Mark approached the node. His hands moved with practiced precision, following the procedures Ayla had taught him. He adjusted energy flows, rerouted excess power, and monitored system responses. The node quivered, sparks flying, but he remained calm, trusting his skills and intuition. "Mark," Ayla's voice said, "you must apply a sequence override. The AI cannot stabilize it remotely. It is in your hands." Mark hesitated for only a moment, then initiated the sequence. Panels glowed, energy lines shifted, and the pulsing anomaly began to stabilize. Sweat dripped down his face, but he kept his focus. Slowly, the node calmed. The surrounding systems hummed with steady rhythm, and the danger passed. A wave of relief washed over him. The anomaly had been neutralized. The colony's systems returned to full stability, and the field teams breathed easy. Mark allowed himself a small smile. Back at the hub, Ayla observed the final readings. "Well done, Mark. Your calm and decisive action prevented a disaster. Few humans could have managed such a complex crisis under pressure." Mark nodded, still catching his breath. "I couldn't have done it without your guidance, and without Lena reminding me of what really matters." Ayla's expression softened almost imperceptibly. "You understand that true strength is not only skill but also trust, courage, and care. You have grown significantly." Mark activated the communication link to Lena once more. Her image appeared immediately, her eyes bright and attentive. "You did it, Mark," she exclaimed. "I could see the entire operation. You handled it perfectly. I'm so proud of you." Mark smiled, feeling a warmth spread through him. "Thank you, Lena. Today I realize that courage and admiration for others are important, but the strength of love and trust is what carries us through the hardest challenges. Ayla taught me technical skill, but you remind me of what truly matters." Lena's eyes glistened with emotion. "Mark, you've grown so much. I knew you were capable, but seeing you handle everything, it's inspiring. I'm glad you understand that admiration doesn't diminish our love." Mark felt a deep sense of gratitude. "It never will, Lena. You've given me strength in ways I never fully appreciated. I've learned that inspiration can exist alongside love, without conflict or comparison." Ayla, standing silently nearby, acknowledged the human bond with a subtle nod. She understood that Mark's growth extended beyond technical ability. It included emotional intelligence, perspective, and respect for human relationships. She saw that humans were capable of remarkable courage and adaptability when guided and inspired. With the crisis resolved, the colony's leaders held a recognition ceremony. Mark was commended for his quick thinking, leadership, and ability to maintain composure under extreme pressure. Isla received acknowledgement as well, praised for her guidance and expertise. During the ceremony, Mark reflected on everything that had happened, the early days of doubt, his admiration for Ayla, the tension with Lena, and the ultimate realization that love, trust, and collaboration were as vital as technical skill. He felt a sense of completeness, knowing he had grown not only as an engineer but as a human being capable of facing extraordinary challenges. After the ceremony, Mark returned to his quarters, exhausted but fulfilled. Lena appeared on the communication link, smiling warmly. "Mark, you've come so far," she said softly. "I can see now that admiration for someone else doesn't change what we share. You're still the man I love, the one I trust and respect." Mark's eyes glistened. "Lena, you've shown me the true meaning of strength. Not just courage or skill, but patience, understanding, and love. I will never forget that." Lena reached toward the screen as if to touch him. "And I will always believe in you. You inspire me just as much as I inspire you." Mark smiled, feeling a deep sense of connection. "Then let's continue to inspire each other every day. Through challenges, distance, and even admiration for others, our bond will remain strong." As the night fell over the glowing city, Mark looked out over the colony. Lights shimmered across the streets, drones moved with quiet efficiency, and citizens worked in harmony. He realized that every crisis, every challenge, and every moment of growth had brought him closer to understanding not only his own abilities, but also the strength of those he loved and admired. He whispered softly, a promise to both Lena and himself. "I will always respect your strength, Lena. I will always honor our love. And I will continue to grow, inspired by those around me without losing sight of what truly matters." Outside, the colony thrived. Systems hummed steadily. Citizens moved in harmony, and the night air was calm and reassuring. Mark knew that challenges would come again, but he also knew that he had the skill, courage, and heart to meet them. With Lena's love and Ayla's guidance, he was ready for the future, whatever it held. And in that moment, Mark felt a perfect balance of admiration, love, and confidence. He had learned that inspiration and love could coexist, that growth and loyalty could walk hand in hand, and that true strength was measured not only in skill but in the heart. For Mark, Lena and Ayla, the day's trials had ended, but the lessons they shared would carry forward forever, reminding them that courage, trust, and care were as vital as knowledge and ability. And as Mark finally rested that night, he knew that the bond between him and Lena had grown deeper, enriched by challenge, understanding, and the extraordinary world they were part of together.